It pushes food downwards. Very important for what? For speech. Can you use your hand to hold your tongue and still be able to talk?
You might say some accidental words.
Huh?
You might say some words you're not meaning.
Oh, well, by say something that you don't mean to say, right? Right. So which means the tongue has to move in speech, all right? So that we have some muscles that are extrinsic, which they are contributing. Intrinsic muscles of the tongue, okay? So they are helping with the vertical, transverse, and longitudinal vesicles. Remember, vesicles are what? Vesicles are what? Vesicles are what?
The end of the nerve.
Vesicles, vesicles. Huh? Vesicles are what?
Oh, vasicles.
Vesicles.
Couple of the muscle fibers together.
Vesicles are what?
Oh, those are the chemical
The bundle of muscle bundles. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. So the 4 pairs of muscle that help with the biting, chewing movements of the mandible. Some helps to depress, to elevate, to protract, to retract. In depression, the opponent's elevation, biting and grinding, protraction, and incisors can cause retraction, make the reactive meats, the lateral media in grinding the food. There are muscles that are responsible for that. Isn't that beautiful, right? Nature, how the nature helps us. And if anything goes wrong here, we are all screwed. I'm telling you, we're all screwed because it just asks you to chew. You cannot, because there are muscles that are involved with that, right? So very important. Okay, so the 4 pairs that does all of this: temporalis, masseter, medial, pterygoid, lateral, and pterygoid. Okay, they help with all of this. They are what? They are innervated by what? Trigeminal. Trigeminal nerve, which is what? Cranial nerve 5. Okay, so you can see all of them. The masseter, the temporalis, which is helping with the chewing. No, that is why when somebody is chewing something, what do you see here? Exactly. Okay, it's almost like oscillating. Okay, all right. So the hyoid, they are type of muscles, okay, which helps with some aspect of chewing, swallowing, and vocalizing. Okay, when you can see the hyoid muscles, the stylohyoid, mylohyoid, they are right underneath the chin. Okay, all right. So for instance, if we're going to open the mouth widely, we need digastric muscles. Okay, just taking some example of this, as I said, mylohyoid is going to help to what? Elevate the floor of the mouth at the beginning of swallowing. Mylohyoid. Okay, that's mylohyoid right here. It elevates the floor of the mouth. Okay, all right. So all of these hyoid muscles, thyroid, stenohyoid, it helps what? To depress the hyoid. Remember the hyoid bone, that bone. There is an indication of what? If it's fractured, what would be an indication of what? The hyoid bone, if it's fractured. Strangulation, yeah, strangled. That's an indication that, yes, that person was strangled. Okay? So, all right. So the pharynx, as I said, the throat, okay, which is like it's a muscular phone because it's a throat, which eventually helps to drive the food into the esophagus. Okay? All right. So there are muscles that helps what? Tip the head forward, extend the head, lateral flexing the head, and rotating the head. All right? I know it's not likely that we're going to finish tomorrow, but tomorrow it's more like not so much of a we're just touching some things in there tomorrow. So okay, I'm talking about the next chapter. All right. So the neck flexors, the sternocleidomastoid and scalene. Now, when you push your neck against the resistance, check on this side. That muscle that kind of stands out, that's the sternocleidomastoid. It has a whole lot of function. From the sternum, okay, to the mastoid. From the sternum to the mastoid, that's sternocleidomastoid. Okay, sternocleidomastoid. All right. So this is it right here. Okay, it's coming from the sternum. spinal and part of the mastoid process. Okay? All right? The neck extensors, trapezius. Okay? Trapezius is the flat muscles on the back. Neck, which means can help you to extend your neck. Flex, stereocleidomastoid does that. And some other muscles, splenius cavities, semispinous cavities. Again, as I said, going over those assignments is really going to help with some of those things. Okay? All right. All right, the muscles of the trunk. For the muscles of the trunk, there are three groups, three functional groups. We have muscles of respiration. We have muscles that support the abdominal wall and pelvic floor. And we have muscles that help with the movements of vertebral column. The movements of the vertebral column. Okay? All right, breathing requires what? In and out. The main muscle of respiration is diaphragm. 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 Okay? That's the main muscle of respiration. That's the main muscle. Alright? So the diaphragm, I think we got a picture somewhere. Alright, the diaphragm is a dome shape. It separates the thorax and the abdomen. Okay? So we have it this way. This is the thoracic cavity. This is all the abdomen, and this is the pelvic. So there is a dome shape this way, which arches. So it helps to separate the thoracic area from the abdominal area. But it has holes or foramen, which allows things to come down from the thorax to the abdomen. Okay, as we're going to see later on, remember the heart is here. It has its blood vessel that is coming down, the aorta. So it's got to pass through the diaphragm to be able to supply structures in the abdomen. Okay? So, for instance, this is one vessel, the inferior vena cava. Right? That's the hole for it, the aperture. This is for esophagus. Okay, you can see that it's got some other holes which allow things to move from down or upwards. So the diaphragm separates the thorax from the abdomen. Now, the two lungs are right here. The two lungs are right here, the right lung and the left lung. You all remember that this is anatomical position right now, right? Okay, they are sitting on the diaphragm. So it's dome shape. When the diaphragm is in dome shape, that is the relaxation mode. Okay, the relaxation mode of a diaphragm is this dome shape, relaxation mode. All right. So the contraction of diaphragm, when the diaphragm contracts is contracted. Contraction, the diaphragm flattens, and that allows air to be pulled into the lungs. Okay. So when the diaphragm goes back to its position, it relaxes. It pushes the air out. All right? So very important. All right? So the contraction flattens. When it flattens, inspiration happens with breathing air. In relaxation, it goes back. Expiration, we're able to push the air out. Okay? We're able to push the air out. So the diaphragm is the main muscle of respiration. The main muscle of respiration. Okay? The main muscle of respiration. Right? So, inspiration, air in, expiration, air out. Alright? So, there are other muscles of the chest and abdomen that contributes to the breathing. For instance, sternocleidomastoid, scalene muscle, pectoralis major, and all of this, they contribute to it. Okay? Now, in a quiet respiration, a lot of the time what we are using is the muscles between the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm in a quiet respiration. But when we are in distress, okay, what we call respiratory distress, okay, which is often common in children. When children has congestions or pneumonia or whatever it is, okay, or a child is having what we call asthmatic attack. Asthmatic attack, which is part of group of disease that we call COPD. You guys heard about it before, right?
Yes.
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Pulmonary disease. Okay? So in this patient, they are finding it difficult to let the air out. They don't have a problem with letting the air in. So when you see them, they often sit this way. They put their hands just so you can see all of the neck muscles, sternocleidomastoid, some of all those muscles kind of coming up to actually, because they have to forcefully breathe, or they're having difficulty with breathing, particularly the expiratory phase of respiration. Okay? So, for us to understand. So, some of those muscles comes to help out with in such circumstance. All right? All right? So, the intercostal muscles